He was born with nothing, no inheritance, no safety net, just a name no one remembered, and a hunger that never left. The world was a cold, unforgiving place for those who started at the bottom. He knew this truth from the moment he could understand the whispers around him, the pitying glances, the dismissive shrugs, the doors that closed before he could even knock. But he had something they couldn't see. A fire that burned hotter than their judgment, a determination that grew stronger with every obstacle. He worked every job no one wanted, mopping floors when others slept, the harsh chemicals burning his hands, the monotony threatening to break his spirit. Lifting boxes until his back broke, each crate a reminder of the weight of his dreams. Making cold calls to people who hung up before he could finish his name, their rejection a constant drumbeat in his ears. "You're replaceable. Don't forget that," his boss would sneer, eyes cold and calculating. The words cut deep, but he refused to let them define him. He was more than a cog in their machine. He was a force of nature, waiting to be unleashed. Nights were the hardest. The silence amplified the doubts, the fears, the crushing weight of unfulfilled potential. "You promised things would change. I can't live like this." The words of those he loved echoed in the emptiness of his tiny apartment. Love slipped away, unable to withstand the constant strain of struggle. Dreams slipped away, battered by the relentless tide of reality. And the world whispered, "Stay poor. Know your place." But he refused to listen. He refused to accept the narrative they tried to force upon him. Every setback became a lesson, every failure a stepping stone. Around him, greed ruled with an iron fist. The rich grew richer, their wealth a fortress against the hardships that plagued the common man. The corrupt grew stronger, their influence spreading like a cancer through every level of society. He fought not just poverty, but a system designed to keep him there, to crush the spirit of those who dared to dream beyond their station. But he refused. He refused to stay a pawn in their game. He refused to die forgotten, another nameless casualty in the war of haves and have-nots. While others sought escape in mindless entertainment, he studied. When exhaustion threatened to overwhelm him, he pushed harder. He failed 1,000 times, each defeat leaving scars that could have broken a lesser person. But for him, every failure became fuel, igniting a fire that burned brighter with each setback. Every scar built his armor, forging him into a warrior who could withstand any challenge. Every setback sharpened his will, honing it to a razor's edge that could cut through the barriers they placed in his path. He learned to see opportunity where others saw only obstacles. In the discarded scraps of the wealthy, he found the seeds of his own empire. In the forgotten corners of industry, he discovered untapped potential. Where others saw waste, he saw resources waiting to be utilized. Slowly, painfully, he began to build. Each small victory was hard-won, each step forward a battle against those who would see him fall. But he persevered, his determination growing stronger with each challenge overcome. From nothing, he built everything, not from inheritance passed down through generations of privilege, not from luck or chance encounters with the powerful, but from grit that refused to be ground down, and the refusal to bow to a world that told him he was worthless. His success wasn't overnight. It wasn't a fairy tale of instant riches or sudden fame. It was a slow, grueling climb, each day a test of his resolve. But with every small win, with every milestone reached, his confidence grew. The whispers of doubt began to fade, replaced by a quiet certainty that he was on the right path. As his influence expanded, so did his ability to effect change. He remembered the struggles of his past and used his newfound power to create opportunities for others like him. Where the system had failed him, he built support networks. Where greed had reigned, he fostered communities based on mutual growth and shared success. The journey transformed him, not just externally in wealth and status, but internally. The hunger that had driven him didn't disappear. But it evolved. No longer was it just about proving his own worth, but about lifting others, about changing the very system that had tried to break him. There were moments of doubt, times when the weight of responsibility threatened to crush him. But he had come too far, fought too hard to give up now. Each challenge became an opportunity to reaffirm his commitment, to prove that his success wasn't a fluke, but the result of unwavering determination. As his story spread, it became a beacon of hope for those still trapped in the cycle of poverty and despair. He stood as living proof that the barriers of class and circumstance could be overcome, that the human spirit was capable of extraordinary things when pushed to its limits. "I wasn't supposed to win," he would say, his eyes reflecting the fire that still burned within him. "But here I am." His words carried the weight of every struggle, every sleepless night, every moment of despair he had overcome. They were a challenge to a world that tried to predetermine success based on birth and background. They were a rallying cry for every underdog, every dreamer who refused to accept the limitations others placed upon them. In boardrooms and back alleys, in gleaming towers and humble homes, his story was whispered, shared, celebrated. It became more than just one man's journey. It became a symbol of what was possible when determination met opportunity, when the human will refused to be broken. He had proven that true wealth wasn't just about money in the bank or assets on a balance sheet. The greatest wealth, he discovered, was in proving the world wrong. It was in shattering expectations, in rewriting the rules that society had long taken for granted. His legacy wasn't just in the empire he built or the fortunes he amassed. It was in the lives he changed, in the hope he inspired, in the system he challenged. He had climbed from the depths of poverty to the heights of success, and in doing so, he had blazed a trail for others to follow. The boy who was born with nothing had become a man who had everything. Not just material wealth, but the richness of a life lived on his own terms, shaped by his own hands. He had faced the world's doubts and emerged victorious, a testament to the indomitable human spirit. And as he stood at the pinnacle of his success, he looked back on the long, arduous journey that had brought him here. Every struggle, every setback, every moment of despair had led to this. He had not just survived, he had thrived. He had not just succeeded, he had redefined success. In the end, his greatest achievement wasn't the wealth he had accumulated or the power he had gained. It was the proof, etched in every fiber of his being, that the human will could overcome any obstacle, that determination could rewrite destiny. He was living proof that the greatest wealth is proving the world wrong.